Hello.
Hi.
Is it me you're looking for?
We're live.
I can see it in your eyes.
Okay, now my microphone turned on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uninformed. First of all, we have our beautiful guest here, Hot Jeff.
When does the show start?
Welcome, Hot Jeff, now.
So this is Jeff.
Okay.
This isn't Jeff. This is Jeff's weird mustacheless twin called Jiff.
Jiff?
Jiff?
Jiff.
His name is Jiff.
Yes. And we're also excited because Chad Smith podcast is in the chat, and we literally haven't seen him in 5 years. So we talk a lot of shit about him on the show. So it's interesting that he finally showed up.
Chat. Anyone chanting their own name, I love. You understand?
Well, it's not that it's chanting his own name. It's that we have a little like emoji that we made for him, and it's the emoji because it won't come out.
I just noticed that someone
I
did
think it's
a KARI emoji. There's one for me.
What's that from? The Adams?
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
What's
I
that
haven't even
family?
seen it.
From all those Adam Sandler movies, that family. Oh, sorry.
It's spooky. It means Spooky Morales. No, there can be only
Spooky
one.
Morales. Yes. Jamie's very quiet. I need to turn myself up.
No, you're fine for me, but I don't know.
Is that better?
So as you can see, Brianna's not here today.
Yeah, Brianna's not
that
here.
Probably
She's
means
off.
it'll be chaos, but
She's off saving the UFO world. You guys know she works in the UFO field. She is a ufologist at heart, and she is out solving UFO problems in the desert.
I will try my best, though, to act as she would in the situations that call for it.
So
you're going to silently judge
Yeah,
us.
so you're going to be extremely mean and judgmental and tell us how bad we are at our jobs.
Get angry, want the opposite opinion of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then
We'll just
angrily convince us how you were correct and we are wrong.
Yes.
I just think... All right, that's enough. That's something special.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's pull our first topic of the day. KARI, you have the bowl ceremoniously. So
I had the bowl made of really thick journal paper because it was the only paper I had.
Thick paper.
I'm going to close my eyes so there's no bite. What is this?
Your mother.
Your mother. Oh, it's two of them. Okay. No fucking way.
What?
Mitch McConnell stat. I'm not even kidding.
McConnell. Yes. So if you guys did,
you hoped it would come out, and it did.
I highly suggest that you go look up Mitch McConnell's blank stare. He was addressing a crowd, having a little press conference, and he had a little shutdown reboot moment.
Did we just watch the video?
In all seriousness, it might have been a medical emergency.
I
And
think
if it is, If it is in that case, I apologize for making fun of it. But the memes that have come out about it that are all over like TikTok and stuff are hilarious to me. They have like a space background and some trippy music going on, and I'm just like, yeah, get it, Mitch McConnell. Like, I think it's hilarious, but I also think that it brings up a really, really important point that like there needs to be limits on people's age, I guess, about how long they should be serving in office for, because I genuinely think we're getting to the point where we have people who have been like lifelong politicians and they are just too old to continue, and like other people got to get in there. And I think that this is kind of a case of it with Mitch, and I think that maybe Mitch is at that age where like he shouldn't be making decisions anymore.
There's a reason he's called Cocaine Mitch.
Hey, anyone else's thoughts?
Well,
watch and talk, I guess.
Oh yeah, we can watch it.
I think this is clear evidence that his batteries and his system need a thorough
Reboot.
reset. You see, someone like that with power can't just retire. Someone needs to control him, either through radio control or right now he's fighting it. He's fighting the spell.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but the dark energy's taking over, and he's breaking off contact now, and they're stopping him.
I said the same thing, Joe. I said, what if maybe he was just pooping his pants and it shocked him?
That face he's making. Look at that face. Okay. He answered.
He's like, sorry, I pooped myself.
You know who he looks like?
That one, I know exactly what you're going to say.
You know, we've all seen that Hannibal Lecter movie with Gary Oldman where he plays like the scarred up rich guy.
Mm-hmm.
That is what Mitch McConnell's skin looks like. That fake prosthetic skin.
Mm.
Wait, you're talking about the Hannibal Lecter movie?
Yeah.
What's next for Mitch McConnell after a 30-something long year career in Congress or in the Senate?
A nursing home.
Oh, sorry, that's wrong. I should have said that. He's old as hell. I mean, let's be real. I'm not trying to be too mean, but these people are like, super overlords with people that are overlords above them. I don't think they're any good. I'm not going to cry.
It's funny we're talking about age limits because today there was another clip of Dianne Feinstein being told how to vote in the Senate. Like her staff had to come up and go, just say aye, just vote aye.
Yeah.
And
she's another one that recently she's had a few clips of her.
Might be an idea.
Yep.
Wasn't she in hospital and then came out of the hospital and goes, I haven't been gone.
Yeah, she had shingles for like a couple weeks or something like that.
Right.
I mean, these people have staffers with probably a combined total of yearly salary that would rival a lot of other groups that would probably shock us because they literally survive every day. They got snacks being given to them. Like, here you go, eat this quickly. Turn around. You're about to talk to. Like, it's like
we need to give you a shot so you appear more alert.
Yeah.
I think that we need to make like a nice little farm that they can go to, and we just retire them out to the pastures, let them live their life confused and like racist.
I thought that's what
wandering around
to H.W. Bush. I was told he was sent to a farm, and he's there and he's happy and he's chasing animals.
I do believe he does do that. I actually
Can we go? Can we go visit him?
He paints pictures.
The ranch in Texas somewhere.
Yeah, he paints pictures.
Yeah, and he paints pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's his son.
He's not gone. Dad said we're gonna go visit him.
All right, Tony, what do you think?
So me and my friend Chris were actually making fun of politicians today while we were cutting out the floor pan on the 64.5 Mustang, and we were listening to Hank Johnson, and I don't know if you guys know who Hank Johnson is, but he's the guy who in Congress during a congressional hearing asked the military if they put too many. He said he was concerned that if they put too many cows, I just read cows. If they put too many people on the island of Guam, that he was concerned it would flip over and dip into the ocean.
Wow.
And I was like, there has to be a point where either we have an intelligence test for our fucking politicians, like a simple, it's just a simple IQ test. Like,
he was like, man, I meant economically.
That reminds me of Bill O'Reilly. Like tide comes in, tide comes out. You can't explain that.
That was a great one.
I'm not gonna lie.
Never a
though.
miscommunication. Never a miscommunication. Tide goes in, tide goes in.
Listen. I'm not gonna lie though. I used to watch Bill O'Reilly. Again, things
Oh,
you
I'm
don't
so
know
surprised
about me.
you were a Republican once upon a time.
It's not that I was a Republican. Bill O'Reilly was the greatest form of entertainment, and I don't care what anyone says. Fun. That man was fucking hilarious with the dumb shit he said. And it's not that I watched it because I thought he was giving me information, but like it was truly like a reality show TV to me, where I found it insane that they let this man have a show and say the things that he said. But I ate up every second of it because I loved watching it. I was dying. It was like, wow, why isn't there more clips of this on the internet? I don't understand. Like, I loved it.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
He did make a lot of money for Fox.
Yeah, he did.
What I'm saying. He was it was like the largest show at the time.
Yep.
I remember
he was like our Tucker.
He was super anti 9/11 conspiracy. Like
was he?
He was super offended by it.
All right, pull the next topic. We'll put Bill O'Reilly in there one day.
O'Reilly.
Auto parts.
Bill.
The credit system.
Oh, good.
Ooh, the credit system's a fucking scam, yo.
Yeah.
The credit system's a fucking scam. So here's how credit really became like a thing. Like, obviously, credit was a thing in a sense that, like, people had stores and, like, back in the old day, like, when you were farmers and stuff, you could have a credit. And, like, that's originally how credit started. But how credit became really disastrous is when the U.S. government decided that they should start charging ungodly amounts for pieces of land, where the only way you were able to afford them is if you borrowed money from someone, making themselves the person that you had to borrow from in order to get the land. So at the end of the day, they still kind of own the land, especially if you defaulted on your payments and went right back to them. And credit kind of exploded from there and turned it into a way to exploit people. More specifically, it really exploits a lot of people because it does things like sends poor people flyers in the mail about how they're pre-authorized for credit cards that they can get, knowing for a fact that these people can't pay the things back that they are indeed purchasing and stuff like that.
It's a debt trap.
It's a debt trap. It's what realistically happened to the housing market inside of 2008 is what they did is they gave a bunch of loans to people who they absolutely knew for a fact could not afford them because they wanted everyone to have a home. Everyone should be a homeowner.
And it's subprime mortgage bubble.
Exactly. It's what completely destroyed our economy. And credit to this day is still doing horrible things. Like, again, credit can be good in some instances, but for the most part, I think credit is a fucking trap. And I think that if you are going to have credit cards or take out loans and things like that, I highly suggest if you're here in America using things like credit unions and not big banks, because credit unions have a lot more credibility to them than banks do these days, and you're a lot more informed about where the money is being spent inside of these credit unions than you are in these big giant banks and stuff like that. You also get way better rates, in my opinion. I have my car loan through a credit union, and I've never been happier about it. My rate was like literally like 1.2%. It was insane. So yeah. That's my spiel on credit. Have a nice day. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I think the credit system is pretty whack. Like, I could pay off a debt and it would lower my credit rating.
Yes.
Which is, I think, is like the stupidest. Like, how does that even work?
Do you mean
I'm worth more when I owe money, but because I owe money, they won't give me money. But if I don't owe money, they also won't give me money. So I don't get it.
Yeah, credit's really confusing, and that's, I think, why. So, like, one of the things they say is like the American system doesn't teach you about like credit when you're in high school or school and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think the reason is because it's really fucking confusing. And like, how do you describe it to people that like you actually want to have debt, because then it makes you have a good
because you can't explain it simply to a bunch of kids without defaulting to this system is insane and we shouldn't be using it. Literally. So you can't indoctrinate the kids in that kind of anarchistic thinking.
Now,
so
do you have credit in the UK? Like, people have credit cards there? Yeah. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of shit, the same kind of
corruption?
It's the same.
It's just like my credit rate. I paid off a debt. I paid off a credit card and it lowered my credit rating. And I was like, what? I'm glad
because they want you to have
have
a debt to income ratio, and they want you to maintain a certain amount of percentage of debt to show that you're willing to keep paying on it. Because like we just talked about, the whole credit system is designed to keep banks rich. That is exactly what it is designed to do. They don't want you to pay it off because then they're not making interest on you anymore. So if they're not making interest on you, they're going to lower your credit score.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with like if you pay your house off early, most housing loans, if you pay your house off early, they'll lower your credit score because you didn't follow the term of the loan. And it's the same thing like how what they did, and I think they still do it, is if you have an apartment, paying that $1,000 or $1,500 a month on your apartment, which is equal to like a lot of mortgages for starter homes and stuff, you don't get a positive mark on your credit for doing that in the United States. It's not counted towards any of that. So if you go to buy a house and you've been paying all this money for apartments for however long you've been doing it, it doesn't count for anything and they don't care.
That's your like rental history.
Yes. Right. Whereas if you owned a home, lived in it for 10 years, sold it and bought another home, they would use the 10 years of paying that off every single month as a positive thing.
Yep. Right. What are you going to say, Jeff?
I think, are you guys talking about when you close that account? Or are you guys talking about just paying off the debt? Because if you pay off the debt, it should look like your debt to income ratio is much better, which is a real factor. But if you close off that account like a loan, like a credit card or something, then it counts as like you've paid off your debt, which is good, and it gave you good monthly payments, which is good. But then it reduces the amount of debt to income because now or credit because you've literally closed out a chunk of credit.
And that's the hard part that makes it confusing about it. So the thing is like they don't want you to pay things off completely is the problem. What they mean by that debt ratio is they always want you to have some version of debt. So if you start wiping out your debt over all of these platforms, then your debt ratio starts to go down. Then they start to be like, whoa, what's happening here? And then they start to think, oh, he's going to pay everything off. And to them, if you pay everything off, you're not making money to them. So as much as it's as a positive that you make your payments on time, it's not actually encouraged. Well, they don't encourage that you pay your bill because if you pay it all at once, how are they collecting monthly interest on it? So it's like this weird double-edged sword. It's like they act like they're like looking out for you, like, oh, well, you want good credit, you have to make these monthly payments. But then when you do things that don't make them money, they penalize you.
Yes. That's why I always say rob from the rich and give to the poor. I came up with that.
I believe it. No, I went to show with Forrest once, and there was a drawing of you inside the tree, and I was like, "This is weird."
Little John. All right,
little Jeef.
All right, let's pull the next one. We're over loans.
You got no roll. You ain't got
damn
no
credits.
toe.
Don't do it.
Oh, we got a floater. What is it?
It's a ghost.
Preppers.
Oh yeah.
Preppers.
All right,
I think this was a tiny topic.
Orange ones, green ones, sweet ones, spicy ones. I don't care what anyone says. I'll put them in my every food. That's what I'm saying. That's my part. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously, I actually used to call. That's funny because I used to call the show Doomsday Preppers, Doomsday Peppers.
Whoa, what are we talking about? Oh,
yeah. So prepping, I think it's a good thing. I think everybody should grow their own food if they can. And in most situations, you can have like a little, even an herb garden or something like that, and it's not hard to keep up, and it's just better to use fresh food like that. Where it gets ridiculous is when people like build bomb shelters under their houses with mini shovels and
they go extreme.
Yeah, bury a Connex container in their backyard, and they don't really know what they're doing. But I mean, I'm not one to I'm not one to say
under the house.
Encino Man.
No, they think nuclear war's happening, so they go down the bunker. They live there for 30 years. He comes out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's that called? It's not pleasant though.
I don't know. He comes up and he sees a black guy, and he's like, "Hey." It's just, I can't remember.
I don't know that one.
Oh, shit. Someone in the chat will get it, and I'll be like, there it is. It's a classic.
Yeah,
I keep wanting to say Back to the Future, but
I kind of grew up during
Blast from the Past.
Period.
That's it. Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past. I grew up in an area where my family was preppers. It wasn't like my whole life, but it was like a chunk of my life, and like they had weird things like an entire room full of ammunition and like barrels and buckets by the pallet of like freeze-dried food and things like that, and like pallets of water. Like it was very much the more scary version of it. And I think what made it even more annoying and terrifying for me was like a lot of their fear and stuff was based around like the government and like, you know, like about who's getting elected or who's going to be in charge of things. And like, we have to have all these things if this person's in charge. And I think that unfortunately it just got like extreme, and it made me very turned off to it because it became almost like a manipulation. You know what I mean? Like they were being manipulated, I feel like, by a group to think a certain way. And like realistically, like this is like over 10 years ago. And like I can guarantee all of those things are still like there. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And like what a weird unnecessary panic to put people into for that kind of stuff. But I agree with Tony, like you should learn things like gardening and like have a generator, and there's like just common sense things that I think that all people should have. But I think of like going to the extremes of like thinking that realistically sometime very soon that something terrible is going to happen is truthfully just kind of like a shitty way to live life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you're muted, Jeff.
Yeah.
That was a test to see if you were paying attention to me. I want to disagree with both y'all right now.
Oh, okay.
First off, I lived in very close to downtown Detroit during COVID. It was a goddamn nightmare. It was the nightmares of all nightmares. And if I can tell anyone anything, people will take all the food, they'll clog all their toilets, they'll steal all your shit, and they'll leave you to die so their kids can still get to soccer while there's a pandemic. Okay?
Yeah.
Prep. Build the shelter. Create new societies.
Become ungovernable.
No, but seriously, back in the day, people used to be self-reliant. That was an important thing throughout every stage of American progression, through every war. It wasn't just some one war. It was have a couple chickens in the backyard, have a garden, be self-reliant, learn first aid, learn all this stuff, learn how to fix a car. Like the second anything goes wrong, we have the most self-reliant people on the planet right now as a population. So you ask yourself, what's going to happen when someone in power recognizes, fuck it. It's us versus them, or not us versus them, but it's pretty much like we've done all we can do. Get in the trucks and let's go get whatever. And that when that system shuts off and everyone just goes and buys it all the food and water, and the water breaks like happened in Detroit, what are you gonna do? Start. I'm not like getting ridiculous, like build a bomb shelter, like we just heard reasons why you shouldn't fall for it, like politically speaking. But when COVID happened, people reacted as if they were going to die, because they were being told that on the news every second of the day. There was really a death counter. It was like they might as well have faces popping up of folks that were. It's terrible. It was so sad. It was like, and I obviously people really did die of things, of certain stuff. And it's like, and so it was just nuts. But like it drove people crazy. I tell everyone, I wiped my butt with Santa Claus napkins for 6 months, and I had 8 freaking Chex Mix off Amazon for like $140 a bag. All right.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to tell everybody watching and everybody listening to this right now, if you are going to go the route to where you're going to grow your own vegetables or whatever, buy seeds now. Don't wait until something happens and then they all disappear like they did during COVID and you couldn't get a hold of anything at all. So if you're going to do that, just go out, buy it now, take it. They're in like every single store. Just spend a couple bucks and think about it.
Good idea.
KARI, what about you? Prepping in the UK?
Yeah, there's like a show, I think it's on Disney, It's like Preppers UK.
There's preppers in the
But
UK?
like, tell me the difference between a hoarder and a prepper. Because like I grew up in a hoarder's house, and it sounds like the same kind of thing. Like stock up on loads of stuff that you don't need, or might not need, or might need. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
and then your house is just stuffed full of things. So, like for example, my mum started a candle business, and then she brought a couple of £1,000 worth of candles, and they didn't sell any. So our house had boxes and boxes of candles for years. And like, is that
if the power went
that's
out,
like prepping for right? But it's like that prepping for a business led to a hoarding situation. So
I'd say the difference is when someone hoards cat shit. Sorry.
Yeah, or like it starts to be like the dead bodies of the cats that live there. You know,
it wasn't just candles, but like
I like Bobby's point here. Hoarders are messy, preppers are organized.
Yeah, well, some of them are, but
I've seen some preppers literally have shit strewn all over their property. Like this barrel's grain, this barrel's poop. I mean,
I have to have this truck for this part, and I got this RV. I know it doesn't have any axles on it, but I can take the axles off the truck and put it on the RV if I need to.
This transmission's still good. Here. This transmission's still good. It came out of my mama's car in 1973. No one touch it. It's got grass grown over it. No one touch it.
Yeah, no one touch it. All right, pull the next topic.
I will say, I will.
Go,
wait, before we finish this off, I will say that if you don't know, like I've talked about before, where your food comes from. All flour, all wheat germ in the United States is irradiated, and this is approved by the FDA to kill pests. So all the flour is irradiated, just so everybody knows that.
That's why I don't eat food.
I absorb it through osmosis.
So was the advice to not eat it or eat it?
Well, you don't really have a choice, is what he's saying.
Oh.
Grow your own.
You grow your own, or you eat the garbage.
Yep.
Next one. Look at your weird little UK bowl.
Pasta I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What is that? A cereal bowl?
Yep. UAP hearing.
Ah, perfect. The UAP hearing.
This show's rigged.
It is. It's rigged.
This show's
you just
rigged.
saw me take it out.
Oh,
there's 5 subjects.
They all say that.
Here's the deal. I think they're stupid. I could care less. I don't understand why people watch them. Stop wasting your time. The government's just trying to trick you into believing things. Who cares? You have your own opinions. Form your own opinions. Stop being weird little pigeons wanting the government to feed you information. Rant over. Could care less.
I think it's important to remember the hearings aren't for us.
No.
So like all these people, like this wasn't my particular brand of whatever they believe in. It's like this is for like the guy down the street who doesn't know shit. For him to see like some kind of something. As much as I don't agree with who they called. I think they could have called different people, or Grush could have answered some actual questions, but at the same time, I think for people that aren't into this subject at all, it was at least like for them, that was probably like, holy shit. For us, it was like, oh, okay. Like it's not for us. Like it's like that. What was it? The James Fox's documentary on the phenomenon. I remember reviewing it at the time and saying the same thing. Like, it's a good documentary, but it's not made for us. It's made for people that aren't into the subject whatsoever, because it's a comprehensive history. But most of us already know this history, so we don't need.
Getting really tired of saying that this isn't for us, though. Like, when are people who are in the know going to start coming out with shit, and we're going to stop presenting it to the masses of people who don't understand it? Because that's just what all these hearings and all this stuff keeps doing over and over again.
Well, there's a group of like 100 people in ufology who seem to think that they run the game. So.
That's true as well. That's very true as well.
So when I say it's not for us, it's like they're involved in that process, but it's not for them. They get benefits from it. They get access, but like it's self-serving for them to be involved, but the overall outcome isn't for them. It's for the farmer.
But I'm over that narrative.
In Nebraska or whatever. Like, yeah, I know. Right. I'm over it too, but like it's It doesn't matter if we're over it or not because it's not for us.
I'm trying to get information, not repeat the same shit over and over and over again.
First off, I want to say this to you two.
Yes, say it.
Those 3 people up there are heroes.
Who? Okay, Jeff.
Okay? David Drush is being threatened. He is a hero for that very fact right there. Do I need to name anything else? He had a yellow watch on. He's a hero.
He reminds me a lot of Tom DeLonge. And that's
all right, no, but seriously, God, someone else.
He reminds me of Tom DeLonge. That's all I have to say.
Something that's goofy to say.
Really? What? No, expand on that. How does Crush remind you of Tom DeLonge?
Oh, why?
He's tall.
Yeah, how?
If you want me to be very specific about it, because I feel like he is another person who has been told government secrets by people and is coming forward and releasing it. They tried to do it once with Tom DeLonge, didn't work very well, so now they have some other government shill, realistically, who's coming out and saying something. Look, if David would have came forward and said, I, with my own eyeballs, opened a door.
Mad at you.
It's his name, right, David?
He said it like if David was to come to me.
Like they're personal friends. If David would just come up to me and talk.
On an alien body, and I'm testifying here in front of Congress that, like, under the White House, there's a secret tunnel where they operate on aliens, I would be 1,000% more inclined to believe what it is he's saying. But the fact that he went before Congress and told me, people told me things, but I can't really say anything publicly, but like the people who know.
Here's what got me is he referred, instead of answering a question under oath, he referred Congress people to his News Nation interview instead of just repeating what he said in the interview because he's under oath.
So that's what I'm saying. It's all very much like the whole thing was a spectacle to me. There was zero purpose for this person to come forward as a whistleblower to say what he is whistleblowing about, because it's not even really his information at the end of the day.
I thought we already went over this. He's a hero.
Right. He
is all I have. This whole subject is all I'm going to keep saying.
And good for him. And listen, if you are really interested in the hearings, good for you. I just don't think that as a whole, it's doing anything positive for the UFO community at this point to have some random dude be like, my friend's friend told me about something, and I'm here to tell you guys about it.
This is my point. It's not for the UFO community.
I know, it's what I mean, but that's why I'm over it.
Yeah.
I think
so. All in all, the general consensus is,
fuck these people.
Pretty much.
And this is why Bree is out
saving.
Yeah.
So, like any congressional hearing, I watched a 45-second clip of it, just coming up with points. And while I was watching it, I was like, wow, I am so glad I didn't watch this entire hearing. Because I would rather duct tape a fork to my dick and stick it in a light socket.
I love that. Yeah, same.
It was interesting to watch, like, just having watched a lot of congressional hearings, it was interesting to watch one finally be in, like, the wheelhouse, I guess. But at the same time, it was like, I said this last night on Truth Seekers. Like, I was neither overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I was just whelmed. I was like, okay. There were some good questions. Like Enzo was saying in the chat, there were some really good questions from some of the members of Congress. Like Congress Lady Fox had some good questions. I thought AOC, as much as like I'm not a huge fan of her, I thought she actually had some good questions. Like, where can we look to find more answers? That's a good question to ask publicly. So. It wasn't a total wash, but it was a lot of, I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
Yeah, but wasn't the answer to that, I'll tell you in a closed session? So, like, again, what's the fucking point? We're going to tell you everything in a closed session again and again and again, and then they're not going to do anything about it because it's all performative just to get people to be interested in it. It's the same thing when they bring the fucking banks up and about interest rates and stuff and how much money banks are making. It's just performative bullshit. That's all it is.
Yeah, nothing's really done at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's just made to make you think that the ball is moving down the court, but realistically, they're just going around in circles. And
I think it's about getting contracts to like the ASA. And
I think Congress figured out how much money there is in the UFO. In the UFO world, and they want to get some of those big name people to start funding their campaigns and giving them $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 just to help with their campaigns.
You don't think Lou Elizondo stands there in front of Tim Burchett and others and says things like, it isn't just money or contracts, whatever, there's voters involved. And that's why Burchett constantly references things like, I don't know why I started this whole thing. Like, you guys don't think I've cracked this code. He mentions voters, like every, or Americans that believe. When any politician mentions a poll that, how many people into it, they probably literally picked up on it like, goddamn, Julie, call. like the reaction of Tim Burchett. It seems obvious. I don't know. But then again, I constantly believe they have something to unveil. They have something to unveil, and it's not going to be what we all think it is, because it's never what anyone thinks anything is. So it's like, at this point, if they saying alien ship, at best is we get a fragment of a meteorite. Yeah. If it's an alien body, it's some sort of fossilized thing inside that meteorite. I don't know. Literally, it's like, let's shrink whatever hope you have down, because it seems to go that way every time. But either way, those people were heroes, and we should all stop criticizing and move on out to the next.
Heroes, we salute you.
We should probably be, the amount of, there's going to be a lot more people coming into the subject now because of this stuff.
And what happened last time? Look at UFO Twitter, and now it's just going to get worse.
Well, I'm not talking about UFO specifically Twitter. I mean, like,
no, but I'm just saying that was.
You remember how everybody and their mum made a YouTube show right after 2017?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
It's going to, and not just like content creators. I mean, like audience members too. There's going to be curious people
people are wanting to consume the content now because it was in the news cycle. But that's the thing of the news cycle. It's realistically what is trending or not trending in our fucking society is what the news is fucking talking about. Period. Point blank. End of story. If they're putting it in front of you, the people in charge of those things, the things they want you to see.
Kari made a good point though. The population jump. If you think about that. Like, think about the population jump in ufology or the people interested in UFOs. Like, it's ramping up. It was like the 60s or the early 70s retelling of Roswell. Then it's like Benowitz and Doty's story and that whole, genre of Bill Moore and telling, never shutting up. And then there's, of course, X-Files. Years and years and years of successful media involved in the topic in one way or another. And then, of course, 2017 and all this other stuff picking up. We have pilots on the news. Like you talk, it seems like an increase in frequency in times of major jumps, and maybe that leads somewhere. Maybe soon.
I have a counterpoint to that. Then, in that same sense, though, Jeff, think about it historically. I think about it in kind of the same way that we had new religions pop up and spirituality and all this stuff. At the end of the day, is this not just us as a society trying to look for something bigger that we can either blame or excuse for what's happening to us? You know what I mean? The same, or like to find comfort in something like a religion, or like comfort in knowing that we're not the only being suffering out there on a planet, kind of stuff. So I feel like it's like a new way of religion. Almost like that's why it's being so prominent, because it's not like a new religion cosmology. It's not like a new religion can pop up, right? Because they tried to do that shit with like Scientology and stuff, and that's not going so fucking well. Everything.
Wait till L. Ron Humpembe comes back.
Yeah, everything's a cult these days. So here they are. It's like about spirituality, about enlightening yourself, and what's out there is bigger. And I feel like it's just they're using it in a manipulative. The media and the government are using it in a religious, manipulative way. At the end of the day, to get their point across, or to get believers in what it is that they're after, which is at the end of the day money. Point blank. I think that's all really obvious. That's what the government is into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of believe that as well.
Oh my God, this is so true. Swink McCloud right here says that we are now the boomer generation of ufology, and here comes the zoomers of ufology. It's true though, because I will say something slightly morbid, but like you understand that a lot of these people who are in positions of power and the people who are like pulling the strings and stuff, their generation is going to die off eventually, and then like the newer generations are going to be all that's left. And what they're trying to do is groom the newer generations to do what they're doing, because I think that they're finally realizing that the people who are at the top are at the end of their game.
Yeah.
They have to keep it going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All
right, next topic.
That's it. Boom. Yeah. UFO hearing. To see that one lady more like UFO hearing aid. Sorry.
Hey,
sorry. All
I
right.
like
Well,
that.
sorry.
Julian Assange.
Julian Assange.
I like mine. What was it again? Julian salad.
Julian
The
Assange.
Multiple
Julian
vegetable
Assange.
jokes tonight, folks. I don't know what I'm doing here.
So
We want to get to the root of that, Jeff.
So I'm gonna pull out my uninformed card. Julian Assange is he not the guy who leaked like the government stuff, saying that the government is like spying on us?
No, that was
right?
Snowden. So Assange is the guy
which
that
one's
made
Assange?
WikiLeaks.
Oh, he's the guy that lives in Embassy Suites.
Well, no, he's now in jail.
In Russia or whatever. Oh.
No, in London. He was in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for like 3 years. He finally got arrested. America's trying to extradite him for being a journalist.
You can't execute someone for being a journalist. I'm sick and tired of this
Freedom
country. You know,
speech.
I gotta tell you what.
Yeah.
You know.
So I don't know much about us. I don't really know what to say. I say let him be free. The government sucks. Let it expose all the secrets. I could care less at this point. And if like Russia wanted to, they could just blow us up with atom bombs, but they aren't. So I don't know what kind of information
They couldn't do anything to
change. Well, I mean, they could attempt to if they want to. You get what I'm saying? Like it's not
They
like
could attempt
it's not
it.
like there's some government secret out there stopping somebody from pushing a nuke button if they have a nuke. So I don't really understand like why people are so concerned. It's a government secret, and because I'm sure that's why they're holding him. Like, oh, he's a traitor. He told government classified information and secrets and stuff like that. When reality, I just don't think that that's as harmful as like the government is making it out to be.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's harmful to
the government. Yeah.
But
And their
so
facade.
there's a big campaign right now to not have him extradited.
Well,
Good. I hope he's not. All right, I'm on team no extradite.
Have you seen like how true whistleblowers like David Grush, Tex Fravor, and Ryan Graves behave, Mr. Assange and Mr. Snowden, you may come back and be allowed to go free.
If you let the government write your script for you before you go and release the information, you could literally be a rich millionaire running around right now. You could be on the conference circuit.
I also, since I'm trying to run a bit here, you know, you brought up Zoomer. Who said Zoomer is what is it? Not Zoomers. What's the new? Is it Zoomer?
Yeah, Zoomers.
Okay. All right. Well, I already have kind of a character going that I'm working on over at Strange Recon. Does anyone? It's sup, girl. Come get a free oatmeal cookie.
Oh, you're a fuckboy.
Have you seen those kids though? There's kids
all the time.
Yeah.
Hey Ma, what's good?
Sup, girl? Welcome to the University of Colorado. You want to get a free oatmeal cookie? And let me tell you about UAPs.
I love that. Your name would be Chad.
Sorry, that was basically. Have you seen these kids? I mean, seriously, there was a video of like.
Sometimes I look at kids in high school, like they'll see like a TikTok, and I'll be like, "That's an adult. That's not a child." And then it's a child, and I'm like, "Wow, people be looking crazy these days. Like people look so much older than they are."
I shouldn't have done that. I feel bad. The kids.
Why? You should
I'm
feel
stupid idiots.
I'm gonna. There might be a clip.
Okay. All right.
Just look at the idiot thing. That bombed.
Is there anything else on this man that we want to talk about? Are we ready to move on?
I just want to.
Yeah, me too. The Julian guy.
There's a documentary about him by his dad. I can't remember what it's called, but Google it and check it out. What?
Is it?
Is
it good or bad? Is it good or bad? Does it make him look good or does it make him look bad?
It's like pro Assange, like anti
pro Julian.
I won't watch it.
Yeah. I just want to say every single time that somebody comes out and releases government information and it's detrimental to the government, they're a villain. And every time it comes out and it's just kind of blah, then nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody cares,
right?
Yeah.
So the fact that when Assange is WikiLeaks, right?
Yeah.
That's
so they released all those confidential cables and the fact that the U.S. was spying on the UK and spying on Israel and spying on all our allies.
The Iraqi torture videos.
Yeah, and then they were just like, "Well, you can't find out what we're actually doing, and the people of the United States don't need to know what we're actually doing, so we're gonna fucking come for you." Like it's every single time. And honestly, the bureaucrats and all those fucking people need to go, and we need to have more people like Julian Assange who's going to say, "Hey, you're this is what they're doing with your tax dollars. If you knew this, would you approve of it? And the answer is always fucking no.
Yep.
Get it.
Absolutely.
That helicopter video was freaking rough, and
the
reaction of the gunner was what you never want to see your soldiers under you act like, and that was his first. I'll never forget that sentence, and it rang through with him still to this day. And so I think about that, and I'm just like, that's like the type of soldier that I would have like. This guy's gonna be out of the squad real fast. Like, there's no way I'm hanging out with this type of fucking dirtbag, but. It's just, that type of attitude, like that type of like, I'm here, I'll just kill anyone I want, and shouldn't have been there. And it was just like, holy shit. That's like,
sup, girl? You know I shot a guy once?
Jesus Christ. You want to get a free oatmeal cookie? Sorry.
Maybe you should switch to chocolate chip. I feel like you might get more people.
Yeah, you might.
I chose oatmeal cookie for a reason. It was,
you know what the best thing to do?
A stupid face saying it.
You make you get raisin cookies and tell someone it's a chocolate chip cookie, and then fucking watch the disappointment come on their face when they eat.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah.
That's when they turn around and just look you in the eye and keep eating it. Like,
tasty.
Oh, this is so good.
All right,
I actually prefer oatmeal cookies over chocolate chips.
I like oatmeal cookies with chocolate chips in them. So instead of the raisins, you put chocolate chips, but oatmeal cookies.
Dodging questions with phone calls.
Dodging questions with phone calls. I think we should all go for like a 10-second part solo where we pick up the phone call and you guys ask a question and we have to act our way out of it.
Okay.
Can you handle it?
All right.
Can you handle it? I'm not an actor. Oh, I'm not first. Come on. You got to ask me a question.
Hey, Jeff, what do you think about the thermite theory from 9/11?
Mom? They're asking me 9/11 questions again. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. That was a bad one. I'm bad at this. No one else go. That was a bad try.
Hello?
Improv in my future.
Mom, you had a heart attack? You're lying on the floor unconscious and you need me to come get you? What? Okay, you guys, I have to go. My mom is unconscious. She's calling me. Okay, she's having a heart attack. I gotta go. Bye. They're fine.
Wait, I got one. Hey, 2001 called.
They want their...
Something happened to the Trade Center.
I was gonna make the worst joke, but
my favorite thing is that we put Jeff front and center, and what he did was put his phone up to his headset.
That's right, improv, baby. I know what I'm doing. I'm very fast.
Yeah, Domino's? Yeah. I will take that pizza now.
Does anyone remember ever calling a pizza place or something or as a kid and then pretending like you didn't do it in hopes that they just give you the food, but instead they try to attack you? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony.
Yeah. All right, what's the topic? Tony has to do his. Yeah. Tony, do it.
I just put the phone up to my head and pretended like I was talking to the pizza place.
Instead of
that just happened.
He was the only one that didn't talk about.
I thought you were actually ordering a pizza.
All right, pull the next one, Kari.
I barely know my new zip code.
I barely know my social security.
This is why you should use Velcro. Banning assault rifles.
Oh,
geez. Ooh.
I'm sad that Bree's not here for this one.
Yeah.
I'll speak for her.
I think they should ban them. Fuck it, why not?
Define
you can have other
rifle.
guns. Who cares? Yeah. I like little pistols. I like fucking, some rifles, some shotguns. So that's fine. I feel like they're not banning guns completely, but I think it's totally fine to ban a certain weapon. I think it's not okay to have a blowtorch on the front of your car.
Why?
You can have a blowtorch. It's within your right. But maybe you should drive around.
What is this, Twisted Metal?
Like, I feel like that's like that's like how it is. Like, yeah, you could have stuff like that, but like maybe there's some things that you shouldn't have.
Can you define assault rifle?
I think that would be something that would have a really large magazine to it personally, because I think that that's really what the big problem is these magazine sizes. Because it's one thing if you have a gun that has 1 or 2 bullets inside of it that you're taking time to load, but the problem is when you have these high round magazines where it's like you're shooting off 100 different things. I believe that's what the bigger problem is here. Is that like why they want to ban the assault rifles is because if there are going to be mass shootings, because yes, guns are a thing, that at least that way it's slowing down whatever is happening instead of speeding it up and making it more horrific.
So do you think assault it's just ammo, or do you think it's semi-auto and full auto switches?
Yeah, that's 100%. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, which is why probably there's a big debate about assault rifles being banned and not maybe particularly certain things, that they're trying to do their best to find the thing that's the biggest problem to stop it instead of trying to nitpick things. You get what I'm saying? But that's just my personal opinion. I don't know.
Okay.
Can I say first off, I don't know what's wrong with a weapon that shoots salt. These jokes are killer. No, but seriously,
nah, man.
These no, but for real, I just want to state. I just want to say.
Serious topic, Jeff.
Hold on. For real. I got to take the role of Brie here because she's not here to defend that. Like she's, that I think her opinion wouldn't have been that far off yours, actually.
Yeah.
From what I've heard of your opinions in the past over firearms.
Yeah.
So I just want to, I will let her. Hold on, ready? I'll let her go inside of me.
Yeah,
she's
get it.
deep.
She would like
Brie
that.
is deep in me.
She would love that.
Okay, ready? Oh, ready?
There's your clip.
Give up your guns, or we will shoot you. Or that was
really good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That was the best I could do.
That was spot on.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, let's hear you yell at us.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. First of all, the term assault rifle. The term assault rifle, when the government say, when people say, even the military uses assault rifle, where they talk about a select fire with multiple modes of fire. So they're talking about single shot, 3-round burst, or full auto. Then you can move it like that, right? There's an AR-15 feet away from me right now that needs to be cleaned because I emptied 4 30 magazines the other day, and I don't think that there is anything wrong. So the high capacity magazine, because you brought that up, Jamie. You said a high capacity magazine capacity for an AR-15 is 30 rounds. That is the standard magazine that comes with the weapon. There are companies that make 100-round mags and all this other stuff, but you have to understand how heavy that bullshit is. If you've ever had to carry 1,000 rounds of 7.62 because you're a 240 gunner or whatever, that shit
you
sucks.
want to have a gun like set up and
you have to be really motivated to do these things. And when we say maybe we should have magazines be 10 rounds, well, both of my handguns came with 15 and 18 round magazines, which is right there. That's over that 10 round capacity. So, and that's a 9mm handgun. That's all, a full size 9mm that I have 15 to 20 round capacity just because of the size of it. And then when you have politicians go on TV and say, when the Second Amendment was passed, you couldn't buy a cannon. Well, that's a lie. There were privateers, and they were used during a lot of the country's early wars because we didn't have a big enough Navy and everything like that.
People still have
cannons. They go on. You can buy a cannon right now. You can buy a black powder cannon. They're $800.
Panasonic.
Yeah.
You can get a Sony. There's a lot of different cameras you can buy.
Fuji's pretty good.
I'm
But you also don't see people like rolling their cannons into town squares and like firing at buildings.
Except
because,
those.
I think that's it would take like a lot of effort for that. You know what I mean? They like bring it in the back of their truck. They have to like,
I was in Vegas. All right. That's not far from you, right? I was walking down the street. I saw lady after lady with huge cannons. It was insane. It was just like, all right. This is.
Yeah, there's a lot of ladies at the street.
I'm trying to liven it up here, folks. Let's go. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We love it.
So,
that's what we brought you here.
That wasn't actually one of that was starting off in my head, by the way. I just landed there.
There are people that actually use AR-15s and AR-10s for hunting. They don't use them to hunt deer. They use them to hunt feral pigs, especially in Texas and Oklahoma, where there's a huge.
The CIA has censored Tony.
Yeah, we don't hear shit you're saying, Tones.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Take back that cannon joke.
Yeah.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you just keep breaking up all the time.
Oh, well, they do use AR-15s to hunt feral pigs and stuff like that. So they have.
There he goes.
Yeah. You're not allowed to talk about the hunting of feral pigs.
Yeah,
this is obviously something from Big Pig.
Yeah, it's Big Pig corporations.
What's the difference between an AR-10 and an AR-15?
Size of the round.
Okay.
AR-15 uses a 5.56 or 2.23, and an AR-10 is a 7.62 or 6.5 Creedmoor or whatever else they threw in it.
Every infantryman on the planet will tell you that that the 5.56 is like a laser, but it takes like. I won't. Let's just not go that. The 5.56, like shrinking the size of the round, isn't. I don't like all these things they're trying to do. Just in my mind, they don't understand the general concept. What they're really just trying to do is restrict until there's really nothing left. I mean, that's just the fact. I mean, that's why states are given the authority. Like, well, let's see who's going to win. You're going to take this all the way to the Supreme Court. Let's see you do it. And it's like it's just these. It's. I'm not saying that. Obviously, there will be less death. I mean, there'll be less gun deaths if there's less guns in general. Although that would be hard to prove the route to do that, because the majority of gun deaths are not murders. You know, so it's like,
what are the majority of gun deaths?
Accidents.
Suicides, isn't it? Still?
Suicides. It's suicides. Accidents account for less than it's somewhere around like 400 to 700 a year.
Some of the first arguments were to stop. Some of the first arguments was to stop suicide. Was this like why is it that anyone can get a gun like this? And they show the statistics. It's like 3 times as many. I don't know what it is today, so don't quote me. But I remember when I was a kid, suicides were it was like 15,000 suicides to like a couple hundred murders. I can't remember what. No, not maybe not that ratio, but it was quite insane. The gap was insane. So I was instantly like, why is it that so people shooting themselves with a gun is being called a violent crime in someone's context of delivering these facts?
Well, yeah, technically.
Because they're using a crime against a human. I don't know how they figure to deliver that story without letting everyone know how they're describing it, but obviously we try to stop it. But is it gun crime? Gun crime's huge. It's huge, we know it. But is that,
I was about to say, like, if you guys were to ban assault rifles, would that have any effect on the illegal gun trade and the inner city violence that happens with gangs?
Oh, absolutely not. So. Well, the argument is that because most guns that wind up in the hands of a criminal are improperly stored in America, like they're not in a safe. Someone's house gets broken into. Oh shit, there's a gun. In this scenario, however racist you are, the criminal is that race. You say, you sick racist people. But there is. I was thinking, fat old blue-eyed white guy, devil.
Yeah, devil white guy.
Yeah. No, so at some point someone gets the gun illegally. So the idea is that eventually try to get the guns out of everyone's hands, and the states do that by making gun laws so restrictive that if anything happens for any reason or anything looks disagreeable, it's likely that you will have your guns taken from you in a liberal state and either auctioned off in front of you, or they'll be like, do you want your guns back? They're about $3,800 a gun and about $1,000 a round you had with it. Like they'll do that to someone. Of course, person doesn't have that money just lying around, and so they figure out ways to get all the guns away. get all the guns out of people's hands. And yet, why does the gun violence keep going up in these areas? They can't figure it out. It's because they're not just getting guns out of people's houses. There's not some organized affair to steal everyone's guns. It's because criminals get guns. Why? How is it all jails are full of weapons and drugs and cell phones?
And cell phones,
Secured
when
box.
People want something, they get it. So one thing I will say to the suicide with the gun dust stuff is, so I worked at a gun range, and it wasn't at my gun range, but they talked about one that was close to us, where it was one of the ranges where you could rent a gun and go shooting. The one I worked at, you had to bring your own gun. And what happened there is they ended up making it so that two people had, like, you had to bring a friend with you, because so many people would go there by themselves and rent a gun and then kill themselves in the range.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That place is
like it happens so many times that like they had to put something into effect where like you had to bring a buddy with you, like, and you had to, like, you get what I'm saying? Like you had to be going there for a purpose and a reason, not just some like sad person showing up by themselves trying to, like, you know, off themselves. And I think that it's interesting because like it's within people's rights to go and rent guns and things like that. And it's interesting that this company then decided to go and like put this extra step in front to stop something like that from happening. And I think what we realistically need to have in the gun world is we need to have more businesses who do stuff like that. Like they're finding newer ways and better ways of how to sell to people, or what kind of people are getting their guns inside of their hand. And I think that that's maybe a step in the right direction. And it takes out of the government. It's about the company controlling their product.
A lot of these mass shootings, though, are a result of pulling a gun that's improperly stored out of a dad's safe, or the kid knows, whatever. Yeah. So that's a big thing. Like no one can deny that.
And there's also some of them of people who stockpile the shit. You know what I mean? Whether they get them legally or illegally, it's both in both cases. It's not just one way or another. You know, it's people who legally have access to these things and they can go and freely buy them, and then there's people who, you know, get them out of their parents' closets, and people who go and purchase them on the street. And I think that's the thing. Like, there's always going to be outlets for it, no matter which direction people go.
Well, and the simple answer to it is, right, so if we, the question of if we ban assault weapons, will shootings go down? Well, look at what happened in Japan with Abe, who got assassinated
with like a homemade shotgun.
A homemade shotgun that was a plumbing pipe duct taped to a piece of wood.
Because
with
when
a
people want
striker.
Something, they will get it. Yes, that's exactly. We have a bigger problem with that now inside of the world of 3D printing, because people could realistically print 3D guns if they have the maps, or they make the maps for it and stuff like that. Like that's a real thing that can happen. So it's taking it even further, where the government is out of the way, the companies are out of the way. You could just make the shit in your fucking garage now.
And plus some of the money that's moving around, and some of these people, you know, they appear, of course, to be poor, not doing well, yet there's like some sort of Mercedes or something in the driveway. And these people that end up getting in a lot of street violence, whatever, have done it with or without the guns. Like folk technology is like a part of anthropology. And like today is no different than if we uncovered us, like, you know, 2,000 years down the line. You know, you're going to find things like homemade weapons all over the place. Long before 3D printing, long before a lot of this stuff, these guys were just drilling holes in 2x4s and putting a shotgun round through it and putting a spring with a nail and waiting for someone to come by and being like, watch this, here we go. You know, like, and so, you know, like people learn to figure out a way. I know that's not like the UK has like knife violence, right? It's not like
we have really bad knife crime because there's like organized crime has guns, but generally like street crime is knives, because there's no guns in general population. But
it's terrifying. And I think there's a reverse thing though. Like, I don't mean to cut you off there. I want to hear more about it real quick if we can, because think about what happens though. Like in America, before it went the way it is now, there was kind of a general consensus in like most states other than big cities that you may actually be carrying a gun. Like this person, this is America. That person might have a gun on them. I'm not going to knife them.
Right.
And so like that factor is completely gone. And the only people that care about that now are the criminals, because they know that most people have no self-defense. Most people flight, freeze, or fight will just freeze.
Right.
You think they're just gonna, you know, whatever, but they just freeze. Nowadays, it's like we're completely unreliant. We need to be prepping. Those guys were heroes. How far?
Heroes.
How far are we along here? No, I'm sorry. I just think that I think the gun reform thing is pretty strange, and it's way more complex than whatever. And all the people leading it always make posts and make statements that are it's just like the UFO topic. They say something that is so painfully whack. It is completely out of order and normal and not even true. I'm like, aren't you the one running this bill? Aren't you running ahead on this? Like, assault rifle starts off with a broom handle, and AR stands for, and then like fill in the blank.
Auto reload.
Yeah.
Yes, they're all like
yes.
things. And
this gun is fully semi-automatic.
Yes. Or they'll post like pictures of guns that like the change of the round that it shoots are so incremental, and the damage that it does to the target basically is no different. One might have a higher muzzle velocity, but they're essentially the same round. And some can argue a lower muzzle velocity would cause more damage in certain aspects, because we have guns that are fully legal, that are semi-automatic, that shoot the same thing, that have large magazines, except they don't look like the other one, which looks like a Predator uses it.
Yeah, that's very
There's a lack of understanding, I think. I saw a clip of Biden saying that a 9mm bullet would take the lung clean out of a body.
No,
a 9mm bullet would not do that.
It would perforate it, sure.
Yeah,
but
it would perforate, but like blasting a whole lung out. Like,
have you ever seen a nuclear bomb film test, like the Trinity film test?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what a 9mm does, and don't you forget it. All right,
all right, you guys. It's been a lovely show, Jeff. It's been great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Guns are a great topic to end on. We get everyone riled up and just like exit. Any final thoughts of the episode, you guys?
Shoot them if you got them. No, smoke them if you. Nah, I don't know.
No, shoot them and smoke them if you got them.
Keep your brown eye peeled.
Keep your brown eye peeled. If you want, you should sun your brown eye like a sunflower, so you could absorb its nutrients, and then you won't need food, so then you won't eat flour.
I heard that's going to be a demonstration on the next Strange Recon with Jif.
Yeah, he's going to show us how to sun your butthole.
Yeah.
I heard that. I can't imagine that's actually good for you. I don't know.
Keeps the COVID away.
Well, I was doing it, and bees kept trying to pollinate. No.
Hey, that means you smell good. If you guys don't already follow Jeff, he's at Strange Recon. Go and follow him on the YouTubes and the Twitters and all the other shit. I feel like everyone here does. Like our audience has a big crossover. So
but those in audio land, because I know there's a lot of you out there, and we don't talk about you guys enough. Go follow.
Yeah, we don't. We don't. All right, we love you, audio people. All right, Kari, roll the beans, or if you have one of those videos to end on or whatever.
Are they tinned? I don't have a video today.
Okay, yeah, then just roll the bean footage.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, y'all.
Bye. Love you. Comment, like, subscribe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jeff.
Do comments.
Jeff. I hope your mustache returns to you and you get married again.